If you've been wondering what the difference is between a hip hinge and a squat, then make sure you keep watching this video so you can learn two different drills that'll help teach you how to properly do a hip hinge. What's up everyone, it's Aaron from AMFIT Coaching, and we're at the gym today, and I'm going to be showing you how to properly do a hip hinge and how it's different from a squat. You're probably wondering what this is. Mainly it's super sunny in here and very, very bright, so I'm trying to block out as much sun as I can. So throughout this video as well, I'm going to teach you two drills that you can do that'll help you practice and learn the hip hinge as well. And before we get into both of those drills and what the difference is, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and the subscribe button down below and enable notifications so that way you'll know whenever my new videos go live. So let's start with the squat. You'll notice when we come straight down, the knees are traveling forwards. We have the same shin and back angle. As well, our femur is parallel with the floor as our hips are coming down. In the squat, you'll see we sort of initiate at the hips first, but then let the knees travel forwards to allow the hips to come down. Now, as you're seeing here in the hip hinge, the knees aren't traveling forwards and the shins are actually vertical, straight up and down. And the only movement that is happening is the hips shooting backwards and the torso coming down. So in a hip hinge, it's only your body hinging at the hips and not the hips, knees, and ankles like the squat. Okay, so the first drill we're gonna go over is a butt to the wall drill. So all you need for this is a wall. Now, this is going to help us with pushing the hips back to allow ourselves to lower down. So the wall is actually going to give you a bit of a tactile cue and something to kind of aim for when you're sitting your hips back. So the goal with this is, as you saw in the previous example, when you squat down, you're going straight down. So if you were to do a squat, your butt's never going to hit the wall. Whereas if you're actually sitting your hips back and doing a hip hinge, you can actually hinge back to the wall. So this is how we're going to do it. You're going to stand a couple of inches away from the wall. You're going to want to start closer and then gradually move yourself further away from the wall. So start with about 6 inches, maybe 3/4 of your foot, and then you're going to have your hips around shoulder width. Then you're just going to focus on sitting your hips backwards until you touch the wall. So remember, in the example, shins are vertical, so we're not shifting our knees forwards. So we'll keep the knees a little loose. We don't want them locked out. Then we're going to sit the hips back, straight back, until we touch the wall and make contact. Then we're going to use the glutes to push your hips back forwards. We're going to stay with body weight with this one for now. Once you get used to it, then you can add some weight if you like. And then once that gets easy, move another inch forwards and then focus on pushing the hips back to touch the wall. The main thing you want to avoid when doing this is when you're going back, you don't want your knees also going backwards as well, and you don't want your back rounding excessively either. So the second drill we're going to do is a band assisted hip hinge on the floor. So you might want to grab a mat for this one, and you just need a light to medium sized band. You're going to hook it around a pole or whatever you got there, and then that's going to go around your hips, and then it's going to give you some more feedback compared to the wall when actually performing the hip hinge. So let's get into the band, then I'll show you how it goes. For this one, when you're in the band, it's going to be right on your hips, so kind of around your hip bones. You're going to walk forwards a little bit on your knees, just so that way there's a bit of tension. So this tension that we have is actually going to help guide your hips backwards, which is going to help you learn how to just hinge at your hips without any other parts of your body moving. So if you found the wall drill difficult and you found it difficult to not move your knees to get to the wall, then this is going to kind of take everything out of the equation, so you're only bending at the hips. So we're going to walk a bit forwards. We're going to stay on our knees. We're going to start straight up, squeezing the glutes, so our hips are almost pushing against the band. Then we're going to let the band actually bring us backwards. Bring the torso down, just sitting the hips back, letting the band do most of the work. Then on the way up, squeezing the glutes, pushing against the band. On the way forwards, really feel the glutes. And then we'll come back. One of the advantages of doing this exercise in particular, it's really only your hips that are going to be moving. So unlike in a standing position, your ankles and knees won't be doing anything funky really. And you get that actual feedback with the band pulling you back and actually having to push against it. It will ultimately help you learn the hip hinge probably a lot better. So I would say if the first exercise or the first drill was a little difficult and hard to grasp, then this would probably be a perfect one, but a combination of both will help you develop a proper hip hinge. So that was the difference between a squat and a hip hinge, and I do recommend that you practice those two drills so that way you can improve your hip hinge. And once you've mastered that, you can progress to the deadlift. I'll link my 5-step deadlift setup guide above. So once you have the hip hinge down, then you will be ready to deadlift. And as always, thank you for watching the video. I appreciate all of you. If you liked this kind of video and want to see more things like this, then make sure you hit the thumbs up button and click the subscribe button down below to keep seeing updates about future content. See you guys next time.